Guys, I did something really bad. It's really bad, actually. I sold everything. Sadly, as you can see, this is not clickbait. It really is all gone, and it was a bit self-inflicted, I will say, but what is better than a clean slate? Not to be overly dramatic or drag this on, but the reason for all of this stems from one thing. Let me show you. It's these. These are the Genelecs 8351Bs, also known as the ones, and clearly this is not sponsored. I wish it was, because I had to sell everything to get them. If you've seen any of my other videos recently, you might have noticed some changes in my monitors. Before this, I was rocking the ATC SCM 25As, which is a mouthful. Mouthful aside, those are great monitors. Anyone would be lucky to work on them, including myself, but these were just too good. Too good to pass up on. There are a few really cool things about these monitors, which I will talk about, but first I want to take you on a little story time of my monitor history. Let's actually start at the beginning. This was one of my first studio setups in my parents' house. I was using the Yamaha HS5s or HS8s, I don't remember which. These were my very first actual monitors that were not computer speakers. These are the classic first monitors. They were a big step up for me when I first started production. And then from there, I went to these Focals. I couldn't even tell you what model they were. They were fine. And then my first real big monitor was the Barefoot Footprint 01s. They were also fine. I enjoyed working on them. Another big step up. And then from there, I got the Amphion 118s, and then the ATCs, and now here we are. So what had happened was my friend Jonathan was babysitting Bob Clearmountain's Genelecs, which is 1000% a true sentence. We were hanging out, and he said, "Do you want me to blow your mind?" And then he brought in these Genelecs for me to try. Specifically, these were the 8341s, which are the baby brothers to these guys, and the first thing that caught me off guard about those was the calibration software and how easy it was to use. Prior to this, I had been using SonarWorks, which is definitely not a seamless process. It can take a minute, and this was done in like 2 minutes. It was crazy. That's it?
Yeah.
Dang, that's so cool.
Yeah, if you had a sub, then it would do face.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay. I mean, that's so much quicker. SonarWorks takes like half an hour.
Yeah, then you can see the corrections
I mean,
there.
yeah, that seems kind of right for this room. They sound so...
You're here because I make you feel shit. No difference if it's
That's
love or
sick.
hate.
That's so good. Her voice is so good, and it feels like it's just like
There.
right there. She's like singing to you. Shit, okay, well, I hate you. I'm gonna have to go sell all my stuff on Reverb now. After a couple days of working on them, I noticed that my mixes started getting better, my productions started feeling cleaner. But real quickly, let's put these things on a desk. Before, I had this little tiny baby desk that was so tiny I could barely fit anything on it. I had this huge TV screen, which was cool because people could stay on the couch and not have to get up and come see the screen. But I quickly realized that it is very nice on your eyes to have a screen actually in front of you. You may have also noticed an interface change. I was using a UA Apollo, and now I'm rocking the Apogee Symphony Studio, which sounds amazing. There are definitely still some changes and tweaks to be made, but I think it's getting pretty close. So if you want to see an updated studio tour with all of those changes, let me know. Drop a like. It was honestly the first night after putting the ATCs back that I was a little sad. I texted Jonathan and was like, I might have to buy some gens because I felt like my monitoring had took 5 steps back. The other thing I didn't realize was the ATCs are so heavy. I cannot move them by myself, and I'm a climber. But seriously, that was what put the bug in my head that maybe I could jump from the 41s to the 51s and be in a more comparable size range. And even the 51s are so much lighter and easier to move around than the ATCs. I feel like the low end on the ATCs also kind of blew out this room. When I put them back, I realized how much clarity in the low end we lost. I do really want to emphasize that the ATCs are great speakers. So many people love them and swear by them, but there were just so many little things with the gens that made me fall in love with them. Not only is the low end so clean, but the stereo image is amazing. It feels like things extend outside of the speakers. And in addition to that width, I feel like you can also perceive height in a way where you can reach out and grab an element of the song. You can feel the vocals right in the center. It's really nice. Now, I spend a lot of time making music, a lot. But recently I found myself just wanting to listen to music, which is really nice. There's something about the combo of the gens and the symphony where you can listen to a song that you've heard hundreds of times and hear an element that you've never heard before, which is crazy. It got to a point where I was just up so late listening to stuff that I had to shut it down. If you couldn't tell, I like gear, I change things a lot, but this was the first time that Drea actually could tell a difference in my speakers, which justified the purchase. Design-wise, these are so cool, they look so good. There's also some pretty wild engineering that goes into these. They are three-way speakers, but the tweeter is actually in the middle, which is something you don't see very often. The way it works is it's all coming from a single point source, which gives you a much wider sweet spot. These are obviously made by people with a lot bigger brains than me, but I found myself able to listen from the couch or across the room, and they still sound so amazing. As awesome as all of that has been, Genelecs has one more trick up their little sleeve. Do you guys like my blue light glasses? We're all about eye health here. Ergonomics and eye health. Be healthy. GLM spells sauce. Seriously though, GLM is their calibration software. I've got this little box on my desk, which connects to the computer, which connects to the speakers, and then the speaker connects to the other speaker, and everybody's talking to each other. You can see here I've got both the speakers and the little box, and what's cool about this is you can have multiple profiles. So getting back to ergonomics, I've got my standing position, and then when my feet get tired and I want to sit, I've got my sitting position. Again, it is so easy to use the software. All you have to do is grab this little mic, put it in your listening position, plug it in, it does a couple little beeps, and then you're done. Now for the fun part, these things sounded awesome before, but they sound even better now. I'm kind of embarrassed to show you my EQ curves, but let's see, let's take a look. So this is the left speaker and this is the right speaker. The red is the measurement picked up from the mic. And I knew my room wasn't perfect before seeing this, but this was a little humbling, you could say. There are definitely some major imperfections in here that you can see. There are some pretty major peaks, but there are also these really massive dips, which I actually learned are more problematic and harder to fix than the big peaks. It's a lot easier to subtract from these peaks, but it's a lot harder to add something back in that isn't there. So you're making the speaker work a lot harder than it has to, and you're ultimately taking away from your headroom. There's also this dip around 400 to 500, and all of these squiggly lines are just reflections because I have the speakers placed on the desk. So what do you do with this information? For the sake of science, I spent most of this week moving the desk to various positions in the room to see if a different spot would be better. I was secretly hoping that this would still be the best because nowhere else in here feels as good for the desk to be, but hey, for science. And ultimately, 2 days later, we're back where we started. Another cool thing with GLM is you can generate a grade report, and I was able to go through this with the guys at Genelecs. Shout out to Paul and Will. Ultimately, we all want great speakers, we want great gear, but it's really cool to get a peek behind the curtain and see how much these guys care not only about their product, but audio in general.
I mean, it's cool stuff. I mean, it's easy to geek out on it, but it's also, you know, it changes so much now. You can't help but think, oh yeah. There's that dip, there's that notch, you know.
Right.
Can't help but think about it. But then it's also nice to know those reflections, those late reflections, are kind of out of your way. And then the other one is that one that comes back in the early reflection, you know. And then, are you going to be listening for that? Do you hear it? Probably not, but it makes you think.
Right, makes you tune into what you're hearing a little bit more. Now, Genelecs, Paul, Will, I don't know one of you guys watched my 5 home studio essentials videos, and that's why you did this Stream Deck compatibility. So why I'm so excited is Genelecs actually has MIDI capabilities inside of GLM, so every function within GLM is programmable to your Stream Deck. So what would you want to program on this? So many things. For starters, you can open and close the GLM app with this button. They also have an icon pack on the Stream Deck store, which I'm using here. And something really cool is you can turn on and off the speakers from this button. So speakers are off, speakers are on, speakers are off. Don't tell Paul I did that. that's probably bad for them. And something I really love, I use all the time in sessions, is this dim. So when people are back there on the couch talking to me and I can't hear them, sorry, what'd you say? Dim. Now I can hear them. And then we're back to cooking. Turn the dim off. Mute is pretty self-explanatory, and then all of the groups that I have for my sit and stand positions are linked here, so I can change one as I'm moving from sit to stand. The amazing thing with Genelec is you can have a listening position calibrated to wherever you want, so sit, stand, on the couch, Roy's POV, whatever you want. Speakers are obviously one of those things that are really hard to translate through video. That's always something that's annoyed me about speaker reviews. You cannot hear them, you're not in the room. So if you have the chance to check out some Genelecs, I would highly recommend it. They sound so good. So Stream Deck, awesome. Calibration, awesome. Design, awesome. Sound, awesome. These things are awesome, what can I say? This definitely has me considering all of this acoustic treatment and maybe getting a sub, but that is a tomorrow Alyssa problem. So that's it, that is the video. I do have some really exciting news to share. I am now an Amazon affiliate, so if you want to go buy this mouse, if you want to buy a Stream Deck of your own, go check out the link in the description. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in part 2. And the transients are so good.
Yeah, all the BBGs too, just kind of like
Hot.